Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Hope you are all well and excited about T1 winning worlds. Well, in today's video, we're trying to win against Gwen in the jungle. Sadly, in my past games, I always lose against this matchup because it's simply broken. Hopefully we can find a solution in this game. After watching Worlds, I realized that trying to do everything perfectly doesn't always work out. That's why I'm deciding to skip some of my camps and focus only on what I believe is important. For example, from experience, I know Tryndamere beats Yorick early, so I'm just going to skip those camps and go for an early gank. I think this kind of freedom can actually help you win games more consistently. In this particular match, we had a crybaby ADC. The funny part is that after dying just once, he started blaming his support and tried to ruin the mid laner's game. It was a bit awkward, but hey, this is solo queue. You expect people with these character flaws to show up, seeking attention and trying to control random players. Now, I wasn't aware they had vision on me here. Since I was gunning for an early fight with Gwen, getting caught didn't change much. I went for the kill anyway, sending a clear message that I'm here to duel. I believe the best defense is a good offense. If playing passively means I'd lose against Gwen anyway, I might as well go all in and take my chances playing aggressively. Now, for the main event of this video, why you should pick Hex Flash. After watching a lot of pro players, I think Hex Flash is an amazing ability on immobile champions. The secondary rune options don't offer much besides extra movement speed or defensive stats, which are nice, but Hex Flash actually creates new opportunities for your champion. Now, in this game, we're in total shambles. The main issue is that Corki doesn't want to play as the carry anymore. So Malzahar kindly said, "Hey man, just take mid, I'll cover bot side." And even with that, Corki kept complaining the whole game. And I have no idea why we're even indulging such a player in the first place. I mean, what's the point? In situations like this, muting chat options is the best move. You don't need to type or respond. It will only fuel his need for attention. So I decided to camp Malzahar. We have 100% kill potential on anyone who shows up. Even though we wasted a bit of time on this side, the main idea here is that we need to create gold and pressure for our team until we can pull everyone together. At this point, we're not even a team. We're not even players. Just NPCs running around the map. Another thing about Gwen, I found out the win condition against her is to dodge her ultimate. To do that, you need swiftness boots. The key to winning against Gwen, similar to Illaoi, is to start a fight, bait out her ult, then back off. Only after she's burned it should you re-engage. And the best way to do that is with Cosmic Drive and Swiftness Boots. The point is not to tank her damage. It's nearly impossible to survive 4K true damage. So the only option is to bait her ult, use your abilities and movement speed, and once the field is clear, then go all in. In this specific game, we're up against Tryndamere and Gwen, both of whom have abilities that grant immunity to damage. So, playing with straightforward engages will only backfire. The only option is to build movement speed and survivability, with items like Protobelt and Cosmic, which will give us an extra dash and speed to dip if things go south. The plan may be a bit awkward, but sometimes if we feel confident that they're out of summoner spells or ultimates, it's safe to fight or dive them as we would any regular champion. One thing to mention about this build is that once you complete your 2 items, you essentially become speed itself. You could push this even further by replacing Hex Flash with something like Relentless Hunter or Celerity for extra movement speed. However, beyond that, stacking more speed would just be overkill. Being fast can help land your Q, but if you don't have enough damage or tankiness, you just end up running straight to your death. In this situation, we're dealing with the same issue as in any other game. The enemy team has tons of damage dealers but no tank. When they're running 4 damage dealers, if you get caught, you're almost guaranteed to die. The only optimal solution I've found is to focus their support since he's the squishiest one. We're building offensively, so it should be fairly easy to burst him down. But sometimes you just get caught and die due to a lack of vision. Of course, having inherited speed against chasers is always beneficial, against champions like Tryndamere, who relies primarily on auto attacks. If we can maintain enough momentum, we can stand toe-to-toe with him. Of course, another advantage of this build lies in our significant damage output. Our ultimate converts our ability power into a 2.5x multiplier to physical damage. This means we have the potential to secure any objective with ease. However, the challenge comes with timing. You need to synchronize your ultimate animation with your E and Q animations, along with your smite. Doing all of this within 1 second is quite difficult, and if you can manage it, you can effectively take down enemies. This synchronization is a skill cap, and we're still a noob and inexperienced when it comes to mastering this combo. With Shaco as support, it can be a solid pick, but the problem is that the vision often lags behind us rather than being proactive. The damage is incredibly helpful here because we can take down any enchanter with ease, which is a beautiful thing. It feels like we're turning their ADC into just a regular dude. However, Tryndamere's skill cap always revolves around when to press R. and you can't help but wonder if he didn't press it or if it was on cooldown. The Red Bull berries and movement speed certainly help at those clutch citations. I also just noticed that this guy got his Navori completed, so he will have his spin up much more often than expected. We need to be really cautious around Tryndamere. Of course, now that we have the Baron, we shouldn't stick too close to our allies. You'll notice that since the start of the game, we haven't been standing next to each other as a team, and that reflects how much we've been holding together. To be honest, I never understand this champion. Sometimes you get this useless, squishy Yasuo player who dies instantly, and other times you encounter a very tanky one that can't die. It's a very awkward design, and since the delusion with the Yasuo player is still persisting, I thought the issue was the tower, but that guy was the fed one on their team. Sadly, I got a good ass whooping. Maybe the E-nerfs are hitting harder than expected, or I simply don't have any armor at all. Of course, I didn't get to use Hex Flash as often in this game as I wanted to, but the principle still holds true. The idea is that we expect to use Hex Flash in the early game to secure ganks, in the mid game to sneak objectives and then escape, and in the late game to flank and secure kills. Just because I didn't get to use this ability as often doesn't mean it's useless. For example, let's say we have a ward, and most of the game we didn't control the river, which means the ward is less effective. But the moment I managed to catch a scuttle crab or two, I was able to use that vision effectively. Hence, the purpose of taking Hex Flash can be fulfilled, even if it's only used once in a game. If you manage to make an impactful play with it just once, it has served its purpose. I really wish Riot would create an indicator that shows how much gold you earn and how much impact you have from your runes instead of simply damage. That would be a very useful statistic to understand the effectiveness of runes. Because if you use a rune once and manage to earn 1,000 gold while using another rune for the whole game that only gives you about 200 gold, that still highlights the utility of that rune for that specific champion. Of course, we get another Baron since the enemy team is now hiding in their base, and I think they're just waiting for their inhibitors to respawn. The only issue is that Tryndamere is not split pushing. I don't know why you would pick a split pushing champion and then not utilize that potential. Once we get our second Baron buff, this opportunity will demonstrate the advantage of having wave clear champions. The enemy team doesn't have strong wave clear, which means you don't need to fight them at all. Just push the wave and wait. You have about 2 minutes to fully utilize the Baron buff, and if you stay alive for those 2 minutes, you'll automatically empower the super minions, allowing you to get a tower or an inhibitor just by standing there and doing nothing. This simple concept illustrates the power of Baron. Of course, if you manage to make an engage when the time is right, that's fine, but that's just an option. The first priority is to just stand there, and in this specific situation, we have Shaco. The benefit we get from Shaco is not his ability to engage, but rather to counter-engage. If he places boxes behind us, the enemy team won't have anything in their arsenal to push us out of their base, which is pretty significant. Imagine just one champion can place a box that can scout, hard crowd control anyone, and affect multiple players that attempt to engage. So yeah, it's a very powerful concept, but it only works if you know how to use it correctly, like with Sir Pink Ward. If not, then the champion is pretty useless. And with that, my dear viewers, this is the last play of the game. I am still experimenting with the rune, and hopefully I will find a 100% method to use it effectively in every game so that whenever you pick it, you'll know what to do with it. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and drop a like. And again, congrats to T1 for their win. Until the next video, take care everyone and peace.